So there are many do's and don'ts that we must imbibe as a people who have an identity, who have a brand, and who have resources. But I will deal with a few just to demonstrate that all is not lost, and that the life of a nation, I liken the life of a nation to a journey of hills and valleys. Every time you climb a hill, there's a valley beneath. And what you want to do is to stay at top of the hill and less at the valley. So the first don't is don't give up on the Nigerian brand. That's the first don't. It's a brand, don't give up on it. And I'm not going to dwell too much on it, don't give up on the Nigerian brand. But I recommend an article, there's an article online, it's called A Century of Humiliation. A Century of Humiliation. Understanding the Chinese Mindset. A Century of Humiliation. Understanding the Chinese Mindset. It was written by one Andy S. Lee. And it just shows how China, as a subjugated nation, rose and overcame the powers that subjugated her. And such that all those powers that subjugated China for 100 years plus have become dependent on China today for their own survival. I am not saying that our Renaissance will take 100 years, but I am drawing on the inherent lessons of turnaround and possibilities. And I think there are enough football fans in the house, and I will use another football example that happened recently. There's a club called Newcastle United Football Club. They waited for 70 years to win a trophy. 70 years. They were in the same league. But their fans didn't stop coming. They had some of the best players who never won, but they didn't stop coming. They believed. The lesson is, why am I telling this? Don't give up on the Nigerian brand. And I think that makes my point as forcefully as anybody else could have made. There are clubs now that some of the followers of European football are taking notice of, perhaps for the first time, like Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, because they are now in the upper reaches of that league. But they used to be powerhouses of Europe. English champions and European champions in their own right. But they went into a period of difficulty. But Renaissance is on the way. And so if we don't give up on the Nigerian brand, the Renaissance will happen. I rest my case on that. I go to the second don't. The second don't is don't disparage the Nigerian brand. The word of mouth is very powerful. Very, very powerful. And I've referred to section 24B, which says that we must promote and project the good name of Nigeria. Don't disparage the Nigerian brand. It is so important. Many years ago, myself and a few colleagues made a vow at a reception that we will never speak ill about our country. And that is quite distinct from our government. And that is quite distinct from our politicians. And I will get there. But I will never speak ill about my country. And that is the second don't. Don't disparage the Nigerian brand. So, and I say that it is regrettable that some of the most damaging things to the Nigerian brand have been said by Nigerians at home, and a few who are bad enough to do so from abroad. And I then make the distinction between country and government. And I want to quote myself, if you will indulge me. I recently wrote a book which I called Nigerian Public Discourse, and this is what I said. Quote, we must understand that government is different from country. We must criticize government and politicians without throwing our country under the bus. This is because governments will change, politicians will come and go, but the territory of the Federal Republic of Nigeria will outlive us. Let us enhance the power, the prestige, and good name of Nigeria for ourselves and for generations to come. So if politicians and governments don't perform, democratic values allow us to criticize them. But in doing so, we must not undermine the brand of our country. And there's a fine distinction there. I will go to a few do's and then I will leave the stage. One do is law and order. We must voluntarily seek to comply with laws and regulations. That is a brand identity in itself. So if we do that, that can reshape many things for us. Just imagine if Nigeria was being discussed in some other parts of the world, and somebody says, oh, I've been there. They're very orderly and lawful people. Do you know what that can do for us? So that is one do. The other do, of course, is to then actively promote the Nigerian brand. And this is more than the responsibility of government alone. It is the responsibility of all of us, the media, and so on and so forth.
We sure hope you enjoyed this video. For more entertaining video content such as behind the scenes of music videos and movies, music concerts, premieres, interviews, and exclusive gists, subscribe now to our YouTube channel Goldmynetv and be unleashed into a world of super excitement.